back to this week's edition of Meet the Media. And now let's talk about the relationship that talk radio hosts have with their audiences. Radio is an inherently intimate medium that allows the host into the audience's private space. How much of their personal experience is a host expected to bring to the conversation, though? I think that radio shows can benefit us hugely in terms of a country that needs to be talking and sharing their authentic and honest opinions. But maybe that's just me. Please, of course, remember to participate in this conversation by using the hashtag #MeetTheMedia. And I'm joined now by Tobin from Power 98.7, as well as JJ Tobin, who's with us in our Cape Town studio. Thank you so much to both of you for joining us today. You look amazing, as you always do. Thank you for coming in.
I came dressed for you.
Thank you. I'm going to start firstly with you, Chaba. I'm in awe of the work that you do, and I know that you think of the work that you do on radio, on Power 98.7, as something of a calling.
Yes.
I remember, it seems like just the other day when you started on radio and you were frightened about the prospect, but from day one, you hit it out of the park for a 6. And I'm wondering now, 2-3 years later, whether you've reflected technically on why it is that you seem to connect so warmly and intimately and easily with listeners on your show.
I have, as a matter of fact. I mean, in the beginning, I was very worried about the mechanics. And people don't know that my being here, I've actually come full circle because you were the first person, and the only person, by the way. The first time I sat down with Eusebius McKaiser was when you were teaching me the mechanics of radio.
You're very kind.
And now we're out here winning awards, so thank you very much. But I was terrified because I knew that because this is a calling, I couldn't afford to come on and be a radio talk show host. I had to be an audience member with the mic. I had to bring myself, and I knew that inherently that was risky because people could either like it or not like it. But I truly believe that the future of radio is in authenticity. And we have far too few radio hosts in general who don't bring enough of themselves to.
And it's a massive risk, right? Because in a sense, you've got to open yourself up.
Definitely.
South African radio, for better or worse, is personality driven.
Yeah.
So you need that critical combination of being an active listener, and you do it. I mean, I can't think of anyone who does it better. And at the same time, you have to let us into your life.
Yeah. I mean, people who listen to my show, Power Life, know a lot about me. They know a lot about my weaknesses, about the mistakes I've made in life. They know a lot about what makes me sad, what makes me happy, the things that I'm passionate about. And ultimately, even though it is my show, it is not my platform. And in order to invite people, because my show is human interest, so to get people to open up and to get people to trust and to believe in the movement, I have to bring myself to the platform. I have to trust it.
Yes.
I have to trust them as much as they trust me.
JJ, I want to bring you in here, and I want to be chachra like you from the first word, which is to say that you have taken to talk radio also on Power 98.7 like a duck to water. You are, in my opinion, as a listener, you are completely self-effacing, you're not self-conscious, you speak authentically, and at the same time, I can think of many platforms, dare I say it, even the one where I'm currently working, where maybe if you'd gone and auditioned, someone would have thought, no man, this guy's voice or accent or that bray, it's not quite the thing for talk radio. Have you, in your short stint so far, understood why it is that you're so good?
Yeah. You know, in fact, someone said that I have what is called an LSM-3 voice because I didn't try to go to voice clinic and try to have, I don't know what the hell that means, but you know, they said I didn't try and go to voice clinic to try and have a voice that's so smooth for radio because the focus is really the content. And I think I want to agree with what Master Chaba is saying. You know, if you have a daily talk show, and in my case, a 3-hour show, you cannot pretend to be somebody else because that won't last. Because people soon will say, but who's this guy talking to us? So the starting point is to try and be yourself as much as possible and simply engage as a human being with your listeners. But the other interesting thing, and Eusebius, I'm sure you get this a lot as well as a talk show host, that people will just almost are startled when you have an opinion. You know, initially they would think all you'll do is to listen to them and sort of be some kind of a neutral facilitator. I didn't try to be that because I didn't consider myself as a journalist as such, but a person who has a perspective, and the other people would engage with that perspective. So I don't need to pretend to agree with you if I think what you are saying is absolutely not what I believe, or if sometimes I even think it is absolute nonsense. But if I have to find a way of saying to you, actually, I don't agree with you because of this and that. And what has fulfilled me is finding a way in which I can learn something from a listener, and listener can learn something from me, and change my view on some things because the listener has advanced a good argument. And that's really at the bottom line of it, to create a conversation in South Africa that I think is weak on many fronts. Let
me just interrupt you there for 1 second, JJ. I want to bring in Masechaba here. Masechaba, of course, we also ask critical questions about the media on this program, as much as I love you. And I've been wondering whether this South African radio host, all of us who work in radio, do you think we have too much discursive power? I mean, we can set the agenda through who we choose to have on, the tone with which we want to go on, whether we want to affirm a liberal view, whether we want to be very conservative. We have enormous, enormous power. Do you think we have too much power as talk show hosts?
Well, look, I inherently, to protect my own interests, I would say no, but I have to be honest and say yes. We do have too much power, Eusebius. However, the way that I see it, it's a collaborative effort, because you cannot disconnect the narrative, the content, editorial, especially on a current affairs, or even more especially on a human interest show, from the radio talk show host. Because, you know, if you don't connect with the narrative, then it's a very difficult one to carry forward. But also, with that said...
But that said, though, we sometimes get away with little phrases like talent, as if everyone else in the team is not talent, right? That's how presenters are referred to. So if we're honest, we don't always listen to our producers. And the other thing is that we often refer to as personality-driven radio. And I wonder whether that doesn't allow us to be less accountable to the public and to ourselves.
Well, you know, the thing about it is that, you know, in having the particular power, the truth of the matter is that there is no such thing as objectivity. It doesn't exist. I mean, by virtue of the fact that I'm a human being with a brain, an opinion, and, you know, a point of reference, a past, the show will be slanted to suit my personality, to suit my interest. I'm not sure about not always listening to the producer.
I have them on. Don't you dare tell me what they think. Let me bring in JJ there. JJ, from the corner of my eye, I saw you nodding in agreement there about the dangers of our own personal biases. In the end, in a time of social media, where woke Twitter in particular will fetch you if you say something wrong, does it really matter that we have personalities, big egos? Or do you think it is a serious danger, given that media real estate is important? We've got about a minute or so. What are your reflections?
Look, I think it's a balance you need to strike, because imagine if we had a radio talk show host who didn't have a personality. In the first place, they won't be hired to be a radio talk show host, because they would be bringing nothing unique to the table. So you need somebody who can bring their own experiences and so on. I know when I switch on to Eusebius on 7 to what I can expect in general terms from a point of view of a robust engagement, and maybe too much interruption from time to time, which is my style, because I just think we don't have all day, so please just get to the point type of thing. But, it's a collaborative effort, as Masechaba was earlier on saying, including with the producer. I've got a terrorist for a producer. If I don't listen to her, I'll be out of there so quick. So we have to work as a team, and I found that me and my producer, have to butt heads outside the show to make sure that what we put on air is a set of quality. It's interrogated. If she brings in some dodgy interview, I interrogate to say, who's this person? What's your connection? And she does the same. So at the end of the day, we keep each other accountable first before we go out there to get the listeners to also hold us accountable about the kind of content we give them, and the kind of topics that we put on the table.
Absolutely. JJ, thank you so much for joining us from our Cape Town studios. I really do appreciate it.
JJ is my favorite radio talk.
Oh, well, there you go.
And I'm not just saying that because I see you, JJ. I tell you every night, you know I do.
It's done very well in the evening slot. I totally agree. Thank you so much,
love
JJ.
you.
No, thank you so much.
And with us in the studio.
Thank you, guys.
And of course, wherever you are, you can engage digitally on this particular conversation. Use the hashtag #MeetTheMedia. We bring back John Perlman and we wrap and take the conversation forward right after this.